What's up, everyone? This is Hamill of Carthage, and today I'm going to bring you a 3 versus 3 on Rome Total War. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you guys this video is because all three of the enemy players chose to play as the Rebel faction. You can't normally access the Rebel faction just with native Rome, but there are some mods that allow you to unlock the Rebel faction for multiplayer and possibly for single player, though I'm not totally sure on that. The reason why you don't see the Rebel faction being played too much online is just because it is rather a weak faction, as they're just meant to be in single player. The Rebels are just meant to be more of nuisances that kind of get in the way or retake your cities and force you to have to take them back and stuff like that. I mean, they're not the best units in the world, but especially because they're a lot of them are early units you can get, but they're still pretty fun to play every once in a while. I don't think I've ever chosen to play as them online just because I know they're really weak, and honestly I don't really care to play with them or against them just because a lot of times you can expect armies that are just mostly archers because the Rebel faction has access to like 6 or 7 different types of archers. It's ridiculous. But in any case, I still want to show you guys this video just because it's kind of fun, at least this time, that our enemies came as the Rebel faction, and I also don't play as the Barbarian factions very often, so the fact that I was playing as Britannia this battle is another reason why I decided to show you guys this battle. The only disappointing thing about this battle is the fact that towards the end, the host ends up leaving the battle, which just ends it, and so I won't be able to show you guys any sort of results, which is unfortunate because the battle is pretty fun, and I would have loved to have seen the results at this battle. But in any case, I'm going to go over the army setups now. And like I said, I was playing as the Britons this battle, and so I have 3 units of slingers, and then I brought 5 units of these chosen swordsmen, and then I kind of went a little overboard on the chariots, but I brought 6 units of British heavy chariots. And because the barbarian factions are so weak in morale, I guess, I didn't know what I would be facing because I wasn't really paying attention to what the enemy had chosen, and so expecting anything, I decided to go really heavy on these chariots, thinking that that would definitely help me in the long run, and I didn't expect to be going up against these rebel armies that have a lot of weaker troops. And so this battle, I didn't need all those chariots, but it's just a little bit overboard, but it's still kind of fun. And then let's see here, this ally here, Pontus, he brought 4 archers, and then 4 units of bronze shields, and then 4 units of Cappadocian cavalry. So, and this was really low funds battle, so the armies aren't going to be too big. And I mean, a lot of big battles like this, 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4, are going to be definitely lower money because even for such an older game, a lot of that many units on the battlefield will definitely slow down the servers or just get really laggy. But in any case, our third ally, or I guess my second ally, but the third player on our team, he played as Armenia, and he brought basically a horse archer army. He brought 9 units of horse archers, and then 1 unit of armored Eastern generals, and there's his general there. And I'm not going to focus too much on this side of the battlefield, just because if you guys have ever played Rome Total War, pretty much what's going to happen. He's just basically going to run around and run away from the enemy and try to shoot them up. Eventually, his horse archers are going to run out of ammo, and then he's just going to charge them in and get slaughtered. So, I know it's kind of a spoiler for what kind of goes on this side of the battle, but I figured I'd tell you guys just because I'm not going to focus too much on that. I might zip over here every once in a while, but not too often, just because it's not going to be too interesting to watch. But the player facing him, He brought probably the most diverse army. He brought 2 units of Hastati, and then let's see here. He brought 4 units of these Judean zealots, 4 units of these heavy peltists, and then he also brought 4 units of these druids. Which, when it comes to the druids, I don't know if they would have a morale boost for any of the troops he brought, because I don't know if they're just meant to boost barbarian units, or because these guys are rebels, I don't know if they would boost these guys' morale or not. I mean, they might, so it was probably a smart choice to bring them. In my own experience, I don't know if they just boost barbarian units or not. And then for cavalry, he brought 2 units of Greek Cav, 2 units of round shield cavalry, and 2 units of barbarian cavalry. So that's the first rebel army. And then this guy isn't directly facing me, but he's closer to me than the other one is. This guy, he brought a lot of gladiators, but he brought 3 units of these Spanish mercenaries. Back here he has 2 units of Egyptian chariot generals. I'm not sure where his general is, just because the troops are so kind of spread out or mixed up. But let's see here. And then he brought, I believe, he brought 3 units of these Murmillo gladiators, and then 3 units of these Samnite gladiators, which are the gladiators in this game, especially the Samnite gladiators, but gladiators in this game are definitely tough units. In a one-on-one fight, they will do great, especially in like a city assault. When guys are coming up ladders or something, these guys are great to defend, but against my chariots, they're not going to stand up to them at all. And then he brought, let's see here, he brought some of these Bastarnae mercenaries. Looks like he only brought 2 of them, and Bastarnae are a really tough unit, though, because his army is predominantly infantry, and because they're not like any sort of pike units, they're not going to stand up to chariots. And that's kind of what all of these rebel armies have in common, is the fact that they didn't bring any pikes, which they do have access to, and because of that, they really have no way of stopping my chariots, because they didn't really bring any archers. I don't think any of the rebel armies brought any archers, and because of that, they have no way of really stopping my chariots, and that's really going to hurt them. Alright, and then this final rebel army, he brought a really simple army actually. He brought 6 units of these Bastarnae mercenaries, which, like I said, is a good unit. And then he brought 4 units of these Sarmatian mercenaries, which are a pretty decent cavalry unit. But I'm going to get this battle started, and then I guess we'll see how it goes from there. Alright, so we spent a good deal of time just kind of checking out each other's armies and the enemy armies, so I jumped ahead just a little bit. But I was the first one to kind of really start moving. My ally, I'm going to move to the top of this hill and try to get some superior positioning on the enemies. And my ally, he's going to immediately run all of his troops over to my side, and we're going to take the hill. Because, well, these guys over here, it's kind of annoying to have to drag all over here, but because these armies are so close, we figured it'd probably be best for us to just combine, so we have 2 armies versus 2 armies rather than like 1 versus 2 and me trying to support, which it wouldn't have been too bad. But, and like I said, over here these guys have kind of started going. He just has them pelting the enemy. I guess this guy did bring some heavy peltists, but against chariots, I mean, you really need archers or something like pikes to stop them. Otherwise, and I actually end up never facing this guy. This guy is the host, and he leaves before I can ever fight with his army, which was disappointing because this ended up being a really good battle, a really fun battle for everyone. So it's disappointing to have him just leave like that and end the game. But I still wanted to show it to you guys. That's because it is kind of fun in the fact that it's basically one giant rebellion that we're facing off against, of just a mix of a whole bunch of troops. So this guy, he's sent his 2 units of Egyptian chariots to just kind of needle away at us. And this is what I'm talking about. Is like I have my slingers focusing on his chariots, and I'm gonna drive him off. But after a couple volleys, I'm gonna start taking out chariots pretty quickly. And this is kind of what I was talking about. Is you need archers or slingers or something to either take out the chariots that way, which is pretty easy actually, or pikes to stop them from being able to just run into your troops. Now these 2 armies are combined at this point, for the most part. He's gonna... It's kind of a problem. He has these pretty decent cavalry units, but he's going to walk them up the hill, and that's going to give me a ton of time to just constantly be attacking him with my slingers, and this guy with his archers. And so you're going to take unnecessary casualties, because he does run them here, but then he stops them right there and starts walking them again. And because of that, they're taking unnecessary casualties. He's basically just going to walk them into my men, which, there you go. I guess he does charge at the very end there, but because of that little walking spree, that was kind of ridiculous. And they do get kind of stopped up right here. And there we go. I just run my slingers away, and he charges the Cappadocian cavalry in. He's going to beat these guys pretty handily. He is... Oh, there goes his general.
Now he can drink with his ancestors and watch his warriors flee.
Now I'm going to pause it here quick, just because I want to point something out too. He's sending in his entire force of Vistani mercenaries, and he makes a mistake. What he should have been doing, because these guys are really good units, and they could easily stand up to my chosen swordsman. But what he does, he sends them all at just, I believe, this unit. He sends them all at just that one unit, and so these guys are going to take some nice casualties. But the problem with it is he's only really going to get 1 or 2 units actually fighting this one unit. All the rest of them are just going to be basically stacked up behind him, not actually fighting, but still getting tired because it says they're fighting. And that's going to give me... It basically turns them into an easy target for me to surround them or charge into them with my chariots. And so he should have spread out his troops rather than mash them all into my one unit here. And even if he just attacked these 3 units, because there are pikemen here, and he's not going to want to take those guys head on, because barbarian units head on into a pike unit is not usually the best idea in the world. But and just want to point that out to you guys, because that's going to make this job all the easier for me to defeat these guys, when it could have been a little harder of a job. See, now he's charging in his Cappadocian cavalry. I'm surrounding him, and then I'm going to bring up my chariots here in a moment too. Now these guys have already been surrounded. Most of them, they're all starting to break, and they're just getting slaughtered. Now this guy, he's bringing up all of his infantry to support, but he's charging into these pikes. And now I'm going to rush in my chariots, and it's just going to be an instant rout.
The enemy army is running like a startled goat. Hunt him. Goats make good eating.
And this is really why I was really wanting to see these the results of this battle, because I have no idea how many kills my chariots are getting, but they're just slaughtering these guys. Between my chariots and his cavalry, these guys are just getting slaughtered. Some of them survive, but not many. As you can see, both of their forces have basically just been wiped out in a matter of a moment. And that's kind of the danger of these chariots, is they don't really have any way to stop them. No archers, no pikes, just stop them from being able to move. Because of that, we were just just wipe them out in a matter of a moment. And the fact that they were so bunched up, the chariots had no problem being able to just get massive amounts of kills. I'm sure because they were so bunched together, the chariots didn't need to chase anyone down, and none of these guys really got to actually do any of the damage that they could actually do, because they were used in such a way that made them basically ineffective. And both of us have the majority of our force together. He did lose a good number of cavalry, but that's just because the Sarmatian mercenaries are still a decent cavalry unit. Now, at first, we were both moving our armies down, just kind of finish the job. But in just a little bit here, I'm going to actually turn my army towards these guys, and these guys are basically going to they're out of the battle. I'm going to leave my ally to clean them up, and I'm going to start heading towards this guy. But I never actually get to him because, like I said, he leaves. And here we go. Our ally, I mean, most of his horse archers are out of ammo. Some of them still do have ammo, but they're very depleted of both men and missiles. And this army still has plenty of troops. So this ally is basically out of the game, and I believe he's going to admit defeat here in a moment. Alright, so my ally is kind of cleaning out the last of these Sarmatians here. These guys, there's still some Vistani left, but there's not really enough to do any damage. I believe one of these players has already admitted defeat, or else his entire army is running. But here we go, see? There's enough of these Sarmatians that they actually defeated what was left of my allies Cappadocians, but he has plenty of archers, and his pikes have basically been untouched, and so there's no way these guys could defeat him. So I'm going to move my army this way. Now this one guy, he has moved what's left of his army over here to join up with this guy's force, which is for the most part, I mean, not untouched, but for the most part intact. And I believe my ally is going to admit defeat, like, almost just really soon here. I mean, he really just doesn't have any killing power with all of these horse archers. At this point, the battle's kind of winding down, honestly. You know, and I believe probably the reason why the host ends up leaving is because he has two basically intact armies coming to attack him, and with all of my chariots and stuff like that, he knows he has no chance, and so I believe that's probably why he left. I just wish, instead of leaving, I wish he had chosen to admit defeat, because then it would have actually ended the battle correctly, and we would have all gotten the results of the battle, and it just would have been just a little more satisfying end to what was a really fun battle, rather than a disappointing end to it. So like I said, I'm moving my force this way. They're kind of spread out at the moment. I'm not sure how I managed to spread them out like that. Normally I'm a little more organized with my troops. Like I said, my ally is chasing what's left of their remaining forces over there. I'm starting to get there. This guy was smart in joining up with this guy and just trying to tag team it with what was left of his force. And there we go. So I guess I thought that ally actually made defeat. I guess he never did. Or maybe he left the game, that might have been it too. But in any case, it was, like I said, it was kind of a disappointing end. This guy just chooses to leave. He sees me coming up, and he probably knows that it's basically the end, but he still could have put up a pretty good fight, honestly. Especially because he has the spearmen. I mean, they're not as good as pikes and as chariots, but if it's in the right situation, you get them bunched up. I mean, they could definitely do more damage to my chariots than say swordsmen could. But in any case, I hope you guys like this video. I know at the end there was kind of a little boring, but I still want to show you that to you guys just because of the fact of these rebel armies, and I don't know. I guess I kind of explained everything in the beginning there, but I guess I'll see you guys later.